Chad Elkins presents the Elkins Accounting Hour with your host, Chad Elkins.
All right, Mr. Clary, how's your day going?
Very well. I got a gym in, and then I found a very affordable place. Do you know why you have to put flashing on a deck, Chad?
Why?
Because otherwise water gets there and it rots out the wood and then your deck falls down. Do you think the South Dakota contractors put flashing on one part of my deck?
I'm going to guess a negative on that one.
They put it on one part, not the other. So I am going to do a cheap fix around, which is to get some sheet metal bent, slide it underneath the siding, but then overlip the first row of decking, and then the water will not go down into the headboard, and it will be dry, and then I will not have people fall on my deck.
I will say I've been on that deck, and it has got a pretty nice view.
It does, doesn't it? It's very nice. Yes,
it does. That's what probably motivated Great One to record that intro you use sometimes.
No, his hatred of me is what motivated him to say, "I wish he died of syphilis." I think it's his intense hatred of me. That's why he did that.
Real quick. Okay. The first.
Oh wait, I didn't tell you the good news about it.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I thought, what did it? Ends up, it's going to be like $40 for materials. That's it. I just got to cut, and I already got a Sawzall thing that'll cut metal, and then I just cut it and then shove it in there, and maybe a little bit. So what I thought would maybe be possibly several $100 is like a $40 fix.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
I went to another guy in town who did some metal work for me. He put the frame together so I could put a what's it called? A screen around it to prevent the Miller moths from getting in my exhaust port.
Oh, I know those.
Yeah, right. You were there for that. So he did that, and I said, "Oh, well, he's basically a metalsmith." And I said, "Hey, can you do this?" He's like, "I can, but that's not my thing. Go to the other place, and that's their thing." And it is, because it was dirt cheap. So I'm very, very happy that this little fix-it is so cheap.
Well, wow, you are having a good day. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. I think now that you're better, of course, I'm going to get sick, but I'm going to go ahead and power through.
Did you? Well, real quick now, do you got any green snot or no?
No, it's just, you know how it is, collective. I think it's allergies. Like, I have to clear my throat a lot. This has happened down here before. So,
okay.
Yeah. Clary, this is going to sound frou-frou, but it's 10% ABV. So.
I don't know it's not the alcohol percentage that I critique. It's the unicorn toe farts or whatever. It's the ingredients.
Do you know, when you were a kid, did you ever have those rocket popsicles? Do you know?
Oh yeah. Those are good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how, like, the flavors of them roughly?
Yeah, roughly.
Well, so this brewery, Martin House, you've heard me talk about them a lot. For 4th of July, they released this. It's called the Rocket Man. It's got cherry, lime, and blueberry sour. So it's 10%, which is strong. You know, a couple beers, 5 to 6. And it's actually really, really, really good.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Is it? It would seem it would be good on a hot day. Cherry limeade kind of thing. Yeah,
it is, and it tastes just like those rocket pops. So yeah, I was drinking these on the 4th of July. Well, it's been a week, but did you have a good 4th?
Yeah, I did. Just a few people over, and we chilled out and on that deck that you like so much, and had the fire going and had cigars. So that was it was very low key. I think we only had like 5 people over.
Nice. And Great One was not one of them.
Great One stabbed me in the back. He's too good for us, Chad. He's number 2, big time corporate muckety muck in the big time finance of Rapid City. He's up with the elite of Rapid City. He doesn't even remember who I am anymore.
Oh, Great One. So Jack, I see you in the chat. No, we bought this at the grocery store, not at Martin House, but I think I'm going to have my birthday celebration next weekend at Martin House. So I'll keep you posted about that.
Cool.
Yeah. Clara, you remember how well the candidate said that she texted you about this. I've seen your bed at the Northern Command. You know,
Yes.
I've been up there, visited, and I actually think it looks pretty classy, like with the back there, sort of
the headboard we got discounted. Yeah, at Ashley Furniture.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what we have been doing. We're getting a new king bed, and I think I found one, and we're going to try to get something similar to what you got. You know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You two are going to get a king bed?
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Like having a Chihuahua, like with an 8x8-foot doghouse. Like you guys are going to be drowning in that thing.
Let's just say it's so fun in hotels. We're just like, why don't we just get one? You know? And also when we were in Mexico, the room we were in had this huge king bed, and we're just like, man, this is like a spaceship.
Yeah, you know, you got a big bed when you lean over to try to grab your girl and your hand gets nothing but bed because she's way the fuck over on the other side. Yeah. So, but you don't have her like moving in like a wiener dog trying to like get your, like you can push her away or you can get close. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm for big beds. It's a huge bed because we had a king and it's monstrous.
Yeah. Well, I toss and turn a bit, and you know, she's got her own sleep maintenance deals. So yeah. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because if there's anybody in the DFW area that needs a full-size bed, which we don't need anymore, let me know, because we would be happy to give it to you. But you'd have to come get it, obviously. Yeah.
What? Doesn't she sleep on the couch and listen to Fox News most of the time? Why? I mean, because I was like, wait, right?
A lot of times she'll start out on the couch.
Oh, and she'll migrate later?
Migrate, but I'm not the Fox News part. I'm getting no more Fox News.
So remember when I came over, I said, we're not doing news, we're doing jazz. We found the jazz channel as much. And now did you switch to jazz or just you turned off the television?
We watch a lot of the, do you know the show Investigation Discovery or Investigative Discovery?
It's like them 48-hour deals or Forensic File. Okay. Yeah.
That's usually on in the background, but lately we're into series. So, you know, like Netflix and all that stuff. Not that we pay for it.
Mr. Ballin?
Yes, we watch Mr. Ballin. Right. Do you still watch? I remember when I visited you guys in Minnesota one time, we were watching very old episodes of Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah,
60s or 70s.
60s. Yep.
60s. Yeah. Do you watch TV at all these days, or?
No, I mean we'll go through the series. We watched the whole thing. We watched all the Andy Griffith show. I think the next thing I'm going to do will be Gunsmoke because that's like a 20-year run.
Mr. Texas loves that show.
Mr. Texas. Okay, all right.
He loves that show.
But no, I think it's been trained out of me. Like you and I kind of had this conversation where I got to figure things to do, and it's rapidly, a lot of it's also the quality of television and the quality of video games, but man, it's got to be a good show or a good video game for me to sit down. Otherwise I'll go do something productive because I just can't. If it's not good, it's just like, I could be cleaning the garage or something, but I might go watch a Gunsmoke here pretty soon.
Well, as you know, I have house cat tendencies. So I go to my little spot over there, nestle in while the candidate is in the kitchen cooking. And so that is a perfect time to either be on my laptop or watch TV. So yeah, I've been watching a little bit more TV lately.
You want two really good, I'll give you 3 really good old classic 60s shows.
All right, I'm open.
Okay. Have you ever seen the TV show, not the movie, The Wild Wild West?
No.
That's a fun one. That's like James Bond, but in the Wild West.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one. Have you seen Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah, I watched it with you one time, actually.
Have you seen them all?
No, but it was when we were crashing that former bank building that was an Airbnb in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that was fun.
You put on Hogan's Heroes. That's literally the only time I've ever seen that. So yeah, it's a good show.
And then the third one is Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Man from U.N.C.L.E., an old spy show. They made a movie out of it, which was also very good. But it's a really simple formula. It's 2 spy guys. One's an American, one's a Soviet, and they got to solve problems. Very James Bondy.
I like problems. So yeah, I'd like to check it out. Where is the Wild West show based, if you happen to know?
Wild Wild West. I mean, where is it based? I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it's like an old, Wild
it's
West.
the Wild West, yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah.
their shtick is they're both agents under not Governor President Grant after the Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
and they always fight some criminal or bad guy or villain. And one guy's the dapper, smooth hand. That's
Yep.
James West, right?
Yep.
And then there's Artemis Gordon, who's not as dapper, smooth, but he's the science guy and he gets all the gadgetry. But he's
Mhm.
also very charming, and the actors work very well together. It's a great show for kids, but it holds up for adults too.
Did you ever watch Bonanza?
No,
No.
that'd be another one I'd watch kind of alongside Gunsmoke or the other one I mentioned.
And there's, of course, Parker. I used to watch this movie with my dad, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So, yeah, that's a pretty good movie.
Outstanding movie.
All right. Well, Clary, this, unfortunately, this stream is going to hit a little bit close to home.
I have no feelings. My heart has been replaced by a pump long ago. You may sling your arrows, sir.
Well, why don't we start? Let's start a little bit gentler here. I have a whole outline here. I actually
You outlined this. You outlined your critique.
I did, but I try to make this educational. It's hard to combine education and entertainment. Before we get to you, believe it or not, I went back. I haven't talked a ton about quarterly estimated taxes on this stream, on this channel. Believe it or not.
What's there really to say about them, though? It's not like a interesting type. It's kind of a thing, and that's about it.
There's really not much to say about it, but considering what happened a week ago, there's this awful article that I'm going to go over with you. It seemed like a good subject for tonight. Yes.
Can I say something interesting about estimated taxes?
Please.
Okay, Chad, are Democrats void? If you vote Democrat, do you have to or not have to pay your estimated taxes?
This was something I wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to steal your thunder, so we'll get to that later.
No,
Chad, if you're a pretty girl, do you not have to pay estimated taxes?
You joke, but do you know how many times I've tried to explain this to some theoretically pretty girls who are in reality not that pretty? But
I have ran into both but I'm a pretty girl. I'm not supposed to pay taxes. And also, but I vote Democrat. I'm not supposed to pay taxes. And I just want to inform, unfortunately, all of you who think you're better than the rest of us. You're not better than the rest of us. Uncle Sam still wants his money.
And this is a perfect segue. So, Clary, I can either talk about this, but I think you like to kind of share your knowledge on this subject. After all, you did get a few questions on the EA exam.
I passed it with flying colors, sir.
What are quarterly estimated tax payments, Clary?
Well, those are when you are self-employed. You are responsible for paying all the different forms of taxes, not just income tax, but self-employment tax, Social Security, all that.
Yeah.
Payroll taxes is the total term that encapsulates them all. And if you're traditionally employed, where you have an employer, your employer handled that stuff because you guys don't look at gross versus net because you vote Democrat. You're like, la, 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 la. So, but when you get into the world of self-employment, since you are your own employer, you are responsible for paying those taxes that your employer used to take out of your paycheck. And so you don't have to do it every week or every 2 weeks like your employer did with your paycheck, but you do have to make estimated quarterly tax payments to the federal, state, and possibly local government if you live in Ohio or Indiana or someplace like that. It is just the fact that these taxes were paid by you, by the way. You pay the taxes no matter what, whether you're self-employed or employed. Your employer previously took care of that. Now you have that responsibility, and you do that on a quarterly basis so the government gets its money.
So just to keep it simple, and you're correct with all of that. If you are a salaried W-2 employee, your employer covers all the withholdings for you. So generally, you're not responsible for quarterly estimated taxes in that situation. However, Clary, who typically can make these payments? You've mentioned self-employed individuals, so that's mostly who has to make quarterly estimated tax payments. But can you think of any other types of people or what types of other income can require that? So even if you have a salary job, what if you have other types of income.
If you have some kind of other income one time, like maybe gambling winnings, or you make a lot of money, or perhaps overtime, you may want to toss a couple extra bucks in. The other thing I could think of is that you listed too many
exemptions.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And they're not taking out enough. And so you would have to make some kind of compensatory contribution. But otherwise, am I in the ballpark there?
You're in the ballpark. What was your situation back when you lived in Minnesota? You had a very unique home situation, right?
I had rental income.
You had rental income.
Oh,
Now,
I see. Okay.
now
right.
typically, like we've talked about this, you don't always make a paper profit with rentals because of depreciation and other things. But some people have a lot of rental properties that generate profits, so they need to make
right. If you do not have your rental properties owned through an LLC, which you would file them through the Schedule C, correct?
Schedule E.
If you own it through an LLC?
Oh, so well,
that's what threw me off. Like I had it probably running through a Schedule E as an individual. I did not have it owned by.
So that wouldn't change. Like rental property is always going to go on Schedule E.
Really?
Because that's just what the rental is. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
you know how I tell you about how I have that Airbnb condo with my sister and brother-in-law out in, on the Big Island of Hawaii. Even though that's in an LLC, it passes through into Schedule E because it is a rental. Yeah.
I would have thought I would have filled out an income statement for Schedule C then, but okay, I did not know that. But yes, if you have Schedule E income, yes, you have to pay taxes on that.
And just to be totally clear, the reason it goes on a Schedule E instead of a Schedule C is because it's passive income, whereas a Schedule C is like would require self-employment taxes. You don't need that for a rental. But if you are making a profit on your rental, that may not be covered by your job's withholdings. So that would be an example of when you would need to pay quarterly estimated taxes. Yes.
But Chad, what if I'm a pretty girl and a Democrat? I really don't have to pay my taxes then, right? You should pay me more money, right?
Tee-hee. There's a reason I kind of let go of. I've got a couple left. One of them I had on the stream one time. I've gotten rid of most of my OnlyFans girls. Like I just can't get them to listen to my advice. So
it's advice. It's the law.
Yeah. Another thing, we didn't mention this yet, but if you made a significant amount of money on either dividends and interest or stock trades, don't you think that could require...
That's right, because that is, not capital gains. But if you had some income, yes, dividend or interest income, correct.
Capital gains, actually, if you made a ton of capital gains, then you may need to. Yeah, because remember, if I sell some stocks and I've got, $50,000 of capital gains, even though it's taxed at 15%, there's no taxes have been withheld for that investment income. So
that's right. Your brokerage does not withhold taxes. That's okay. Never mind. You're right. Yes. If you have significant capital gains, you will have to make some extra payments. Yes.
Yeah. So I think the best way to summarize this is individuals with significant non-wage income, whether it's self-employed individuals, rentals, dividends, interest, capital gains, things like that. Clary, are they required or are they optional? I know we've touched on
taxes.
I'm talking about quarterly estimated taxes. Is this something? Can you not pay them and then come tax season you have like a $20,000 tax bill and just be like, okay, yeah, that's
fine. You
can
do that if you'd like. Yes, there's going to be some fees involved, but you can do that. Yes.
Yeah. So quarterly estimated taxes are actually required if you want to avoid accruing potential penalties and interest if you owe a lot of money, not just to the IRS, but to the state. Actually, Illinois is just awful with this. So when people ask me, is this optional? I'm not really sure what to say because, you have the option of doing it, but you'll get screwed if you don't. But
when you have a fiduciary responsibility to say they're not optional, you must pay them quarterly because consequently they would incur fees. Like, isn't that in their best interest?
That's what I say to them. But Clary, do you think they pay attention to me every time I say that? I'm not just talking about the
They're
OnlyFans
pretty
girls.
and they're Democrat, Chad. They don't have to pay taxes.
Well, these are therapists too.
They're pretty and they're Democrat. They don't have to pay taxes.
They ain't pretty, but they are Democrat.
Okay, they're Democrat, so they don't. Chad, let me ask you this. What if I'm unnamed miscellaneous random Mexican with smelly feet? Do I have to pay taxes?
If you're self-employed, you may need to pay quarterly estimated taxes, but otherwise that should be covered by your
What if I have incredible fashion sense? Do I have and I'm Mexican? Do I have to pay taxes?
I think you're just too cool to pay taxes at that point, man. Man, I keep missing Atham on these streams. He was in the chat earlier.
Was he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so they're optional, but they're really not. They're not optional. Right. Okay. Clary, easy question for you. When are the quarterly estimated tax payments typically due? Give me the 4 due dates.
April 15th, which is not technically a quarter. That's your first. I mean, I know it's not like quarter, but that is your first quarter due date. They loop that in with the due date of the rest of your taxes the year previous.
So people hate it because if you owe a lot of money on your previous year's taxes,
sucks to be them. Anyway, so and then the next one, I'll be honest, Chad, I don't know. I'm just going to assume quarter end. Like
so
6/15 or what?
6/15. The reason Clary doesn't know this, and we'll get to that.
You're right. I don't.
So the first quarter is, as you correctly stated, due April 15th, and it covers January 1st through March 31st. The second quarter is due June 15th. It's actually June 16th in 2025 because it falls on a weekend. But June, and that covers April 1st through May 31st. That's not technically a quarter. That's only 2 months, but this is how the system is set up. Do you know when the third quarter is due?
Well, if it's on the September 15th, am I right? Okay, so it's on the 15th.
Yeah. Okay. And so third quarter is June 1st to August 31st. And fourth quarter, when is that due?
December 15th.
It's actually due January 15th of the following year.
What? Say what?
Yeah. And that covers, of course, everything from September to the end of the year.
And they do that, but so they bump it into the next year for all the lazy people who don't pay their taxes on time, right? The procrastinators, the inferior people unlike me, the irresponsible ones.
Oh, we'll get to your quarterly estimated tax strategy. I'm just going to say that Clary's GF is in the similar field as I am, and both of us combined have been begging Clary not to do what
it's like you're trying to get me to stop doing heroin. This isn't the worst thing ever, like.
Oh man. Now, Clary, now it's going to start to get a little bit interesting now. What are the different options as far as how you can pay your quarterly estimated taxes? Tell me what the methods you can do it.
Oh, you could pay online.
Yes.
There's an online pay, but this is just federal. You could cut a check.
You can pay online for state as well. Yeah.
Most state. Okay. Most state. All right. You could pay with a check. You should always include the payment voucher.
Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. You should always use the payment voucher. Can you do automatic withdrawal from a bank kind of deal?
You actually can. I remember that awful story I had last year where that friend of mine who's no longer a friend made that election and then tried to blame it on me.
Right.
So when you file your taxes for the previous year, you can have it. You can elect to have a certain amount automatically directly debited on these dates. I don't recommend that because your business income's like this. So you're correct. You can do that.
And then the only other way I can think of is that you have your refund from the previous year applied to the next.
Man, we're in sync. I was just about to say that. If you are due, if you're owed a very big refund when you do your tax return, instead of just getting it back as cash, you have the option of pushing it forward to count as estimates for the next year. It's interesting. You had many opportunities to do that, but I guess we just decided not to,
a lot of it was because I was buying stuff for the house. Why not get my money back? And then, but I'll be honest. I was lazy. One, I underestimated how much you were saving me in taxes. Then I opened up the SEP IRA, which also saved. If I didn't have that open the past 2 years, then I would have been more or less ballpark. But yes, I have been slothful in getting my estimated tax payments to be in line with what I actually owe. So this year it should be different. I'm paying significantly less in to do that. But yeah, it was just because I just wanted to have a cash reserve and a buffer in case there were expenses.
In slight defense of you, it's not good to significantly overpay and, of course, to significantly underpay your estimates. But if you're going to do one, it's much better to significantly overpay.
I'm glad you agree with everything and how I make my estimated quarterly tax payment. I'm glad we agree on everything on this. This is great.
No, not everything. All right, Clary. At this point, I think we've covered pretty much everything about, what these are. Would you please explain to everybody what your philosophy has been in terms of when and how you make these payments? Clary's a self-employed individual. He does not have a salaried job, although for his S Corp, he has to draw salary. That's just to meet the compliance. Tell us about what you've been doing.
Well, let me answer your question by asking you a question, Chad.
Yes.
Is there a handbag that's actually worth $100,000 in your opinion?
No.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
In my opinion.
So let's say there's a Birkin handbag, right? Or a Louis Vuitton, and it's $100,000. And some woman, because no man is stupid enough to spend his money on that, some woman spends $100,000 on the handbag. Should that $100,000 is it $100,000 worth of value? And two, should it go into the GDP account? Should that count as $100,000 of production?
God, I'm not totally sure how to answer that. If somebody's willing to pay that much, it must have that value is the only conclusion I can reach.
Do you, and let's say a dapperly dressed Mexican fellow with stinky feet that just randomly, we're not speaking of anyone in particular. Do you guys enjoy getting stupid on substances?
Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by substances. We're talking about legal things, and
legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Like, do you ingest chemicals or things that make you loopy and funny?
Occasionally this may have happened. I mean, I don't know are you guys going to bed anytime soon?
But you did so willingly. So you made the cost benefit analysis that the money you had to fork over for these substances was worth it to you. Now, do I have any right to tell you whether or not you should enjoy that or derive value from that?
You know what? You don't. I always welcome opinions. If I have friends, I'm interested in what they think about things. So you may not have a right, but I welcome feedback. I do.
I could critique and say, well, he should spend his money on other things.
Yeah.
But you are the final consumer of that product.
Of course.
It is your money, and it is up to you to decide whether, I don't know, $800 for a bag of shrooms or $40 for a bottle of Windex. I don't know what you guys were doing, but you were doing something. So you got that value out of it, right? And a woman will get in their mind, $100,000 worth of value out of a handbag. And some stupid people will go and drop $250,000 on a Middlebury degree. We all know this is a pissing away of money. We know it should not be considered in the GDP accounts, but that does not matter because they got that value out of it in their mind. So my question, okay, yes.
I have a wonderful retort for you on this, but I can't do it yet because I need you to explain your philosophy first about
my philosophy is knowing full well I am losing interest in terms of opportunity income on my estimated payments. So I have basically a 3-month window. Let's simplify it. Forget April 5th. When the quarter ends, I got a 3-month window to make my quarterly estimated tax payment, right?
Yes.
Right.
Depending on the quarter, but yeah.
Depending on the quarter, but just simplifying it, you roughly have 90 days to make the payment, your estimated quarterly payment. I can wait till the 90th day, thereby earning 1/4 of 1 year's interest on a CD, say at 5%. So I would, let's say I invested it, what is that, 1.8% in the quarter?
Something like that, yeah.
All right. I can wait, take my money that I would make the estimated tax payment with, put it into a 3-month CD, make my 1.8% interest, and then pay the federal government. or I could pay it on the first day, foregoing that 1.8%. I choose, just as some people choose to smoke Windex through their toes or buy $100 to $1,000 handbags or get Middlebury degrees. It is my choice. I derive more value having the peace of mind and a clean, nothing to do. My nothing to do list is an empty. Let me show you what my to do list looks like. Hang on. When I make my estimated
I have a retort for
this is what my to do list looks like. You see that? Do you see? It's
Yeah.
empty. To me, paying that foregone 1.8% interest is worth the peace of mind and not having it on the to-do list. So now that I've answered the reason why I pay my estimated taxes as early as possible, you answer your question that I answered with the question by asking me another question.
Okay. So I heard what you said, and for years I've understood this, and I can appreciate it, man. Like, I'm a big to-do list kind of guy, and I just like to get stuff off my plate. It just makes running a business easier, as you can
Yeah,
attest
no,
to.
it actually does. Yeah.
But here's where I think we diverge. And okay, we are in the third quarter right now. Now, the very first day you can theoretically, pay your third quarter taxes, theoretically, would be, at least for this year, June 17th, because June 16th was the deadline for Q2. Okay. Clary, if the third quarter is supposed to cover your wages, or not wages, but your net income from June 1st to August 31st, that's your responsibility for
Right.
third quarter taxes. How do you know what to base those
That is a
payments
great
on?
question, Mr. Elkins. But I went to the Carlson School of Management.
All right.
And come on, I mean, we are a pretty elite class. Okay, we're pretty fancy. No, the reason I can do that is because my income is quite regular.
Yeah.
I do not have that variable of income. So you could get away with, like, if you have a regular income, like, I don't know, a dentist or whatever industries have regular income, you can quite accurately make an estimated payment there. And then if for whatever reason there was revenues came in way too high or way too below, I would make the compensating adjustment on my fourth quarter payment. But that's how I can do it. But yeah, a lot of people can't. You probably should wait towards the end of the quarter so that your taxes that you pay in match that the income that you have to pay taxes on.
Would you say I may have a bit of a cyclical job profession when it comes to the income that I make, if you had to guess?
You do, but you know the cycle.
I do know the cycle.
Right.
And I do you did say something which is true, and that I was going to say a little bit later. I hate to defend you. If you're short in any of the first three quarters, now you can't do that. You can't totally skimp out on the first three quarters and pay it all in the fourth quarter. But if you feel you paid a little bit less than you should have in any one quarter, you can always pay a little bit extra in the fourth quarter, and then you should be fine. But no. Your philosophy, I don't actually have a real problem with it. You have steady income.
I don't know, everyone.
But your GF does agree with me, right?
Well, okay. I forgot to mention another benefit I get out of it. Okay. So not only do you get the blank sheet and there's no to do and it's off my mind, and there's budgetary reasons, right? Pay your taxes first, so you're not going to accidentally spend the money, although that's typically not what I do. I tell you, man, equivalent to that so the 1.8% in foregone interest, it's totally worth it to get you all riled up, man. It is so awesome to see oh man, I just say, yeah, it's worth the 1.8% that I lost.
I need to disclose that now, Clara, you're among the earliest, not this past tax season, but generally, you're among the earliest to get me your materials, and I can do your return. It's really the first 5 that I do, are your returns. So, I mean, you've got everything together there, and I appreciate it, but just know that you are about the only one of my clients who wants to do it, as soon as possible. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as we have established, but you're very unique in that philosophy.
Some people did their homework on the bus ride home on Friday afternoon. Others waited till Monday morning on the bus ride back. I that was me, frankly, on the bus ride back. But now I'm a changed man. I do my homework Friday afternoon on the bus ride home.
Spoken like a true oldest sibling, because that's what my sister used to do, and I would be the opposite.
That's because I now it. Wait, That makes sense. That totally, you're the irresponsible, you're a younger sibling. I forgot. You guys are irresponsible. You can't be trusted if you guys were in charge, the world would fall apart. It looked like Minneapolis. Thank God us responsible older siblings are here.
Fair. Candidates and oldest siblings. So in a way, it works.
I sensed that about her. Yes.
Yes. All right, Clary, now's the time where we got to get our pitchforks out to you. What happened a week ago? You told me that you paid your taxes you paid your quarterly estimates.
I made a stupid mistake of not putting in the voucher form with it. So I just sent the government a check for the third quarter taxes. And I did put some information on it. I mean, it's addressed to United States Treasury, and they say put your social security number in Form 1040 ES. I think they do it because this happened in the past where people forget to put the voucher in. So I did not put the voucher in, which now burdens me with the future obligation of having to go and find out if they did, in fact, apply it to my third quarter estimated taxes.
Have you checked to see if they actually cashed the check? Have you?
No.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. I'm aware. Yeah. Thanks, John. Thank you. I'm aware.
Will you do that? Well, actually, it's probably too early for them to process it. But if you wouldn't mind the next week or two, maybe just check on that.
On my to-do list, August 1st, I will go and check. It's on my to-do list.
So by paying early, you created an extra item on your to-do list.
No, it's not by paying early. That is not what did it. It is a mistake of not putting the voucher in. This is not a criticism of the early payment method. I screwed up. It's like brushing your teeth and forgetting to put toothpaste on. That's what it is. So it's not the fact I was brushing my teeth. Okay, everyone get it out of your system here. The one time I screw up, this one minor screw up I do, where look, I forget to put a payment voucher in. This is the one chink in my armor that you all got to go and get into now. Go ahead, celebrate. Go ahead, get it. You guys get it all in the comments section. I'm fine if this is my biggest screw up.
And it's not even that big of a screw up because you did put your social security number on the check, right?
Yes,
so it should be okay. Actually,
we'll find out.
Now, Clary, before I finish this beer and get another one, I've always wanted to ask you this. In fact, I may have asked you, but I don't remember what you told me. Why do you pay by check on your quarterly estimates?
Well, you had that, this was years ago, though. It was like 5-6 years ago, but there was like a snafu with the online payment system where you had a client that had a problem, and you said it was a nightmare. And so I wanted to avoid that. Another reason I do it is it's worked ever since I've been filing a Schedule E, which has been since 1999. I've not had an issue mailing checks at all, either to the state or the federal governments.
Okay.
So it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. I'm also a little reluctant to give in the latest book that I put together, Zero World Problems. What was it? 2 weeks ago, there was an 16 billion username password leak.
I heard about that.
Yeah. And before that, National Data, which was a background checking company for rental, they had all their data leaked. So there's 75% of American social security numbers were leaked. So I want as little usernames and passwords to be hacked as possible, because I hate changing my username and or my passwords anyway. And so if there's one less account, because the IRS is going to want username and password probably, right? Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm going to cut the check because it's worked and I don't want to have another risk.
You can submit estimates online without having to log in. You can. So it's possible.
All
we'll
right.
talk about that. I need to get another beer, but Clary, I'm going to set this one up for you. How would you like to hear a story about far left-wing boomers in serious pain?
How would I like to what about them now? Set it up? What?
I have a story. I have an article I'm about to read on the subject of estimated taxes and paying by check.
Okay.
How would you like it if you heard a story about people who are voting against your own interests?
I love it when people who are my enemies, conscious or not, who make my life harder. I love it when you suffer. Yes, I would love to hear the story. Boomers or not, anyone who votes to take more of my money to give it to people who do not deserve it so you can feel better. For those of you who wish to enslave me more incrementally, I love stories when you soulless, non-thinking NPC fascists get pain. Yes, I would love to hear it.
You're going to really love this.
Okay, all right.
I'll be right back. Hawk anything you want to hawk.
Okay, well, let me like hawk. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do while chat's gone. Everyone in the chat room, act like you're like, yeah, you know what? Cappy convinced me I'm going to make my estimated tax payments early. I think I know you don't believe that and maybe you don't agree, but just to get Chad's, goad him up a little bit for you regulars. If you're going to do a super chat, put it like, actually, I have to kind of agree with Aaron. Just please do me that favor. In the meantime, we have, this is in the book. What the hell happened? I keep lending out my books. Why do I do that? Here, this isn't my book. Riches from Bitches by Cairo Copeland, exploiting the she economy for profit. It's actually a very good book. I would recommend you get the audio version because he reads it like Sam Spade. She walked into my office one time. I had 2 shots in me, one of lead, one of whiskey. She was a fancy dame. It's like that. He's got some kind of like East Coast kind of Humphrey Bogart accent. I don't know. Yeah. Just love it. Just make it in the comment section. Just do that. Super chatter.
Okay. This is the one I had last week. This is just that honey citrus blonde, 6%. I'm going to be pretty wasted by the time the candidate gets home from work. She has a real job, Clary.
Isn't it great that the women got the real jobs and you and I are just these dirt bags who, like, you know, I know we work. It just doesn't seem like you get to be the house cat and I get to be the hiking poker. I feel like, you know who I feel like?
What do you?
I feel like who's the actor in Tombstone? I know there's a lot of them. Val Kilmer. Like he's just the gambler.
Yeah,
the gunman.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, like he just makes his money on shooting people and gambling. Like I feel like that. And my girl, Doc Holliday. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and then my poor GF has to work a real job and do taxes and estates and all that.
So you feel you're fine with it. I actually feel kind of guilty about it.
I don't. I mean, I feel sympathetic, but dude, all right. Does anyone we know, did you guys patrol campus at 25 below zero and get sleep deprived and drop down to 118 pounds? Like I put in my dues. I put in my dues.
My whole 20s was working for the federal government in that environment. So I feel like I put in my dues too. Oh, you got some supporters here.
What?
Cappy convinced me not to pay quarterly.
Look at that. See, Nick.
I think early payment. Oh,
look at that. Thank you. Well, I'll be.
I've got to admit, Cappy's system makes sense.
Well, Parker Franklin, he's practically a CPA.
So here's the real
Chad, I don't know, man. Like you seem to be in the minority now.
So here's the real problem I have with all of this.
Right.
When I went away just for a second, I put my headphones down and I had to do something with the window. And I heard what you said to
I don't like you.
I know.
I don't like you at all.
I'm mad at myself for that because I wanted to react genuinely to what I just saw. But
dude, really? So wait, what did you forget?
What did I forget?
You said you forgot something, so you had to come back. You put the headphones back on?
Oh, I needed to shut the window over there, like do the blinds.
So you too make mistakes.
Oh, I make mistakes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just.
But speaking of mistakes, Clary, I got one for you.
Okay. I love to hear it.
And that was why, this is why I wanted to go over this week. One, because that mistake you made. And then I happened to stumble upon this article. And it truly was totally random. And I'm like, I know exactly what I want to talk about. Would you mind reading the title and then I'll read the article?
My God, here's how Bay Area couple almost paid $30,000 more on their income taxes. What do you mean almost?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
So, Clary, first of all, before I get to this, I don't know that they're liberal boomers, but it did say Bay Area, did it not?
These are they're liberal boomer. If I hear Minneapolis, Chad, it's like a 92% chance they're leftists. Okay. And the 8% that are Republicans in Minnesota are spineless little cowards. All right. So I could just assume, like, right. Everyone, Chad, can Republicans be dickheads too?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they're pricks. There's like a 98% chance they're pricks. So I don't care.
Okay. Livermore, so just to be fair, this is from ABC7 News, which is a San Francisco Bay Area channel and website. The author is somebody named Stephanie Sierra, and I hope the candidate's not listening. I have to be honest, she was kind of easy on the eyes.
Wood? Hang on, let me look her up. Stephanie
Sierra, yeah.
So I explained to the GF the wood. You know that meme, would not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Wood in half a second. Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, let's see how many Twitter followers. Does she have a lot of Twitter followers?
How many Twitter followers? I guarantee she got more than your average ugly leftist thing because she's good looking.
2,820.
That's it?
That's it. I know. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Dang, she's a looker. Holy
so she wrote this article, and it is a pretty balanced article, I think.
Okay.
And it came out 5 days ago, so Saturday, July 5th. Livermore, California, which is in the Bay Area. A $30,000 mistake. That could happen to any of us. A Bay Area couple accidentally overpaid the Internal Revenue Service, but that's only half the problem. As 7 on Your Side explains, both the couple and the federal agency appear to be at fault. Clary, before I continue, if you pay the IRS your money and you give it a lot of your money, is it that easy to get it back? Like in any scenario?
Another reason why I don't want it applied to the next year.
And I think you're actually right to do that, believe it or not. Quote, if I owed $33,000, I'd go to jail, said Joy Hayes, frantically looking at the IRS paperwork. She and her boomer husband, Kenneth, are struggling to comprehend the mess they're in with the IRS. The Livermore residents tried to pay their estimated 2025 taxes due next year early. They tried to do it early, Clary.
All right.
According to their estimate, the total due for the year is $3,360. So they probably don't make that much self-employed income.
All right.
Not $33,000, Joy explained, as if a firework went off in her house. As her expression will tell you, the $3,360 figure she owed did not make it on the check. What did we say about paying by check, Clary? At least not in the right spot. Joy, pay attention, guys. Joy wrote the correct amount on the numerical value box, okay?
Right.
But accidentally wrote out, quote, $33,000 plus $60 on the, quote, paid to the order of line. Clary, have you ever done anything that stupid in your entire life?
No, but pretty close. I'm sure. Yeah, but I'd have to go and hit the replay button. I'm sure there's some boneheaded moves I made like that.
Oops.
Tee
hee. Quote, it was a bad day, she said. A bad day turned into a bad month. Unfortunately, the IRS did not detect the discrepancy and eventually cashed the check, but the bank tried to withdraw the incorrect amount, and it bounced, not once, but twice.
Okay.
Quote, I didn't have $33,000, she said. I would have bought a car, which tells you how smart she is, because, Clary, should you ever spend $33,000 on
You should never spend $33,000 on a car. No.
Exactly. So Chase Bank calls the couple to ask about the situation. Kenneth says he was told that the bank only honors the amount that's written out on the line, not in the numerical value box. So, Clary, if you're going to continue to do this, please never make this same mistake where you
I will
write
not.
out.
I will not.
Quote, they said the IRS will get in touch with us, said Hayes. No, they won't. Come on. The IRS is never going to solve your problem for you. Well, that never happened. Instead, Kenneth says the IRS issued a $661 penalty, claiming they, quote, underpaid or paid late.
That's a pretty steep. Okay, so she owed $3,600, right?
Yeah, well, that was what they said, yeah.
Right. 600 on 30. That's 1/6. That's a steep fee.
They're in the penalties and interest you have to pay are going up. Like the IRS is really raising.
My goodness. Okay.
Yeah. So they get this penalty for the bounce check. Hold on, I'll read this one, Clary. Well, Binga, Chad can't spend $33,000 on a car since he doesn't have a driver's license. If I'm going to make fun of Clary, I got to make fun of myself. Although I do have a driver's license, I just don't have a car. Okay, so the IRS it's charged them this penalty. Tax experts say it could also be from the bounced check. Of course, it's from the bounced check. There's no mystery about this. If you bounce a check, the IRS gets really pissed off about that.
Yeah, they got to spend some time. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Quote, I just figured it was impossible. I mean, you'd think someone would look at the check and realize that it was wrong, end quote, Kenneth said. One would hope that would be the case. Joy and Kenneth tried calling the IRS for weeks to get this sorted, but got nowhere. In fact, they said the closest they got to a conversation was listening to the operator for 6 hours, only to be disconnected. Clary, have you ever tried to call the IRS before?
No, I don't want to. That's why it's not even I'm afraid of an audit. You critique me for being conservative with my tax payments. It's not even that I'm worried about being audited. It's the time I'd have to spend on some damn phone line.
And you are correct that calling, unless you have that sort of skip the line practitioner number that we have, it is hell trying to get through to the IRS as a regular citizen. So that doesn't surprise me. And I think
I'm confused, Chad.
Yeah.
This is a female in San Francisco who no doubt loves government, and she's having trouble with the government department that owes her money, huh?
She does seem to be having some problems. Yeah.
Well, Lem's pro handling.
I do not feel any sympathy for her. Okay, so they tried to get through 6 hours. Quote, I love this quote, because remember, they're Democrats. Quote, the IRS, they need more people, Joy said. If they want money that bad, they better get more people. And then Kenneth here says, is it all AI? Well, according to tax attorney Chris Hausch, I'll just call him Hausch, the short answer is, quote, a human has probably not looked at what the actual situation is. So he's right and he's wrong about that, because a human had to be the one to take the check and try to process it, but it got bounced.
Right.
So, yeah. Hausch explains that while the IRS is overwhelmed, here comes the political part, the IRS is overwhelmed after losing a quarter of their staff in the midst of federal cuts. The Hayes predicament should have been avoided. Quote, unfortunately, the payment processing unit and the tax return processing unit are two different places. So the check got separated from all the paperwork. Nobody has double checked the two items together, end quote, he said. So you're telling me that in the government, the federal government, the left hand didn't talk to the right hand, and we're supposed to be surprised about this? Yes, Clary.
I have a question, sir. Would she have this? Now, she's a Democrat, and she's all for tax systems that redistribute income and wealth, because those rat bastards have a white penis, and we got to get those rat bastards. Would she have this problem under a sales tax?
She would not have this problem under, although California, who knows, but at least with the feds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure California would still have, okay. She would not have this at the federal level if we replace the income tax with the sales tax, because she wouldn't have to file a tax return.
Right.
Okay.
And so, yeah. Let's see, where were we?
I was going to say, we can't have a sales, we can't replace the income tax with the sales tax. You know why, Chad?
Why can't we?
That would be patriarchy.
That would be patriarchy.
Yes.
Even
don't ask me how. It would be, though. And we can't have none of that.
Quote, do you see this often? End quote. Asked 7 on your side, Stephanie Sierra, that one chick. Often enough, said Hausch, the tax preparer. Side note, I actually see this quite a bit myself, Clary. It usually involves the Illinois Department of Revenue more than the IRS, because they're actually more incompetent than the IRS. But this is not uncommon.
I believe that.
Yeah. And also, I wouldn't worry about it on your case, because your check is going to be cashed. And so you're going to get credited, because the person that's going to take the check, they need to have a place to assign the funds to. And with your social security number on the check, it will go through. So you don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. And they can also look up my name too and say, oh, Aaron Carey at this address. It's okay. So I'm not too worried. I haven't made a mistake yet.
No, I mean, I guess the one The one thing I'm a little bit worried about is, can they actually read over there at the IRS? You know, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So House says the IRS has call-in periods based on where you live. He recommends, and this is actually good advice, believe it or not, he recommends calling in at the end of the day when other parts of the country are blocked off. If that doesn't work, he suggests going in person to the Oakland IRS field office or another IRS office to make your case. Or as a last resort, even write a letter. No, your letter won't get read. That's bad advice. Quote, but the letter unit is overwhelmed and understaffed as well, he said. I rest my case. And House adds, it's only going to get worse. And here we go, Clary. As provisions in President Trump's, quote, big, beautiful bill will require the IRS to do even more casework with fewer people, quote. So I'm expecting more snafus, House said. And that is our article, and why I don't think Clary does anything wrong by paying his quarterly estimated taxes early. I don't have any issue with it, mainly because you've never underpaid, and because it's like you said, you value crossing it off your to-do list more than you do anything else. So
although I have to say, accusing the IRS of not being able to read, I mean, that's kind of insulting to Harvey, don't you think? I mean, what did Harvey do to you? I mean, now you're on Harvey's bad side. You're going to get audited, Chad.
Not just Harvey, but Scott, who I had on a couple weeks or 2 or 3 weeks ago.
We got two people in the IRS.
Well, he took the voluntary layoff thing, and now he's going back to being a private. No, Harvey's one of the good guys, and we came very close to getting him on here for a stream anonymously, but he thought better of it. And
let him make his money, get his pension. Don't mess it up. I know you hate him and you accuse him of being illiterate. You know,
Harvey, I don't hate you.
Do we hate the employees of the IRS, Chad?
I never have. Not. They are in an impossible situation.
Thank you. We are very sympathetic.
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you they're in the same position where, like, if the tax code went away, you'd be fine. I bet you they'd be like, if there was a sales tax and it was none, and they'd be like, fine, we're gone. I don't think they like looking through mail and matching up social security numbers.
Somebody has to process this stuff, and even if there was only a sales tax, that would get audited as well. So,
right? Yeah. But here's the other thing. Do you know what all the women that would have been, let's say they do have a sales tax put in and they lay off like 95% of the staff. Do you know what all the women who used to work at the IRS could do?
I have some ideas, but what are you going to say?
They could go home and make some babies and some sandwiches. I'm kidding. They could though.
I thought you were going to say OnlyFans.
No.
I know.
Actually, that's less insulting to your modern day feminist than, I don't know, get married and treat a guy right. They probably, but that was a joke.
Oh, God forbid.
Heaven forbid you girls make a sandwich. Yeah, but oh my God.
So that was really all I had for this one. I went into this thinking I was going to say to Clary, please stop paying by check. But you know what, man, you're not an idiot, and you're not going to make the same mistake that
it's worked this well, this long. I'm a minimalist. I mean, yeah, sure, I can make a little, but if I did a pie chart, why I pay my taxes, you're a good chunk. You're like a 33%. It agitates Chad. That's a big chunk of it right there.
Not just me, though, right? Not just me.
Yeah, but I like my girlfriend too. So that would be like a negative pie. It kind of, but yeah, it's that, but it's just, I don't know. Look, you get rid of all your major responsibilities, right? You get your finances together. Coach Greg Adams is right. Peace and serenity and quiet is a tremendous standard of living, and just not having to worry about it really helps me calm down and enjoy life.
If I may be personal for a minute,
you may.
One of the things I can't get enough of the candidate. Clary, do you remember one of my exes in the drama that was just constant? Well,
it's got to be Cuddle Wookums unless there was another one. Cuddle Wookums, yeah.
I just don't get that right now. And man, peace and serenity. Whew.
I was sitting there thinking about how humans are naturally, non-maliciously, unconsciously conditioned to tolerate other people. You have to be. but it starts crossing a line where you don't realize how much of your time other people just feel entitled to, and they're not being malicious or conscious about it. It's just, oh, hey, take care of this thing. And the only reason I've been able to see it is because I get so like all my projects are done. I'm more or less there, and you can see the finish line, and then somebody somewhere, oh, can you do this thing? Right. I had to go visit my old man and deal with estate stuff. That could have been done differently. Like, I'm like, why don't we do it this? Oh, no, you got to come in. I set up an appointment. People are designed to not waste, but take your time. And if they don't do it efficiently, they will waste it. And so it's that you really got to play defense and guard against people wasting your time more than you think, and not get angry about it because people aren't doing it maliciously.
This sounds weird, but this even includes people who are paying you for a service. Believe me, they'll try to take up more of your time than they should be allotted to. So just for those going into their own private practices, just please don't let people steal your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the more and more busy you get and the more and more fun you got, or just maybe you want to sit on your ass.
Right.
Dude, I'm trying to think of something like very minor. Nothing's coming to me now, but even if something takes me an extra 10 minutes to go run some errand, I'm like, God damn it. You know, you see it comes into focus the closer you get to it.
Last thing I'm going to ask you before we get to the super chats, would you ever consider mailing off your quarterly estimated tax payments via certified mail to confirm delivery? Or are you just not that worried about it? You know, you drop it.
It's worked so far.
Okay.
I did do the certified mail for the
I got it
Minnesota
yesterday.
screw up.
You sent us
Minnesota screw. Yeah, I did send you a package, but the Minnesota screw up.
Oh, you sent that certified.
Yeah, I sent that certified mail, so I didn't get the.
Thank you.
I trust DC more than I do St. Paul. So, but yeah, I mean, maybe I could do it. It doesn't cost that much more, but.
The only reason I say that is because, I mean, I can laugh at these Bay Area boomers, but if something similar could happen where the IRS doesn't even get your check. And so the next thing you know, it's never cashed. And then you've paid late, so to speak.
Right. You know what? Maybe it's worth the insurance, because what does a certified letter cost? Like
a couple of bucks. It doesn't cost anything.
Well, don't make carbon copies of it. Like, hey,
yeah, so that should be fine. For you, it's not so much the monetary cost. Is nobody likes going to the post office, and nobody likes having to deal with people who work at the post office. That's a way bigger cost than anything that you would pay out of pocket. But at the same time, like you've said, it's worked perfectly fine up to this point. So
I'd like to think, because I've been sending it to the same, because South Dakota and Minnesota have the same IRS field. Yeah, it goes to Cincinnati. I'd like to think these entire 20-odd years I've been filing my taxes, or no, that's self-employed. Ever since I've been in Minnesota, the past 30 years, I've had the same person. It's like, oh, Aaron Clary mailed it. You know, some old guy with a mustache, and he has personally attended to me at the IRS. I know it's not the case, but
I don't know, man. I guess I would just say keep doing what you're doing, and it'll be fine. So. Super chat time. I'm going to read one that's not a super chat. The Y2A problem says that tomorrow H&R Block opens up applications for returning tax preparers, at least in his district. So Parker was in here earlier, and there were some others, Nick is Steve. If you do want to do this for another year, and I know Red Hawk does, they'll start taking applications tomorrow.
I am going to put that H&R Block taking applications. I'm going to do a video on that, because it is that would help out people and remind them, like, hey, now's the time to prepare for tax season 2026.
Okay.
For those of you who want to become an enrolled agent and get some experience doing taxes. Plus, Chad, who practically owns all the shares of stock of H&R Block?
So Clary happens to be a shareholder of H&R Block. I haven't looked at the stock price. I don't know if it's gone up or not. I don't know.
Let me take a look. I paid like 54 or something for it. Look at it's back down. It was in the 60s. Yeah.
Where's it at?
Oh, it was up to 65.
Where's it now?
Oh, wait, no, because I bought it when we were talking last year. Okay, so I bought it in like the 50s, It got up to 63 and now it's down to 56. I'm like, I was up 10%,
Well,
20% even.
it's not tax season, so they're not making a lot of money. I wouldn't worry about it.
That shouldn't matter. Net present
shouldn't.
value. All the financial geniuses on Wall Street should have the net discounted cash flow, bro. Did you ever have to do that?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Discounted cash flow.
shit.
Hey,
Yeah.
everybody, it's worthless. Knock it off.
You know, maybe that has something to do with that one beautiful bill, which wouldn't make sense to me because even though they're saying they're simplifying it, that one big beautiful bill complicated the tax return even more. So I don't know.
Well, I'm sure there are other reasons H&R Block has. It's a weird stock price movement. If I go 5 years, it's generally on an upward trend. But yeah, the past year it's had a very high beta. Do you remember what beta is, Chad?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. Bringing it back to my MBA days, dude.
Hatton Clogs, Cap, did you hear that boomers had it worse than us? Yes, the boomers had it worse than us. It was really hard being a boomer.
Especially if you live in the Bay Area and owe $33,000.
Yep. I don't know if those were boomers, though.
I feel like the way they were being quoted sounded like they were boomers. I don't know.
They're running a business, and their estimated tax is only $3,600.
I just got this boomer vibe from it.
I got a millennial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Kenneth was her boy. Joy and Kenneth. I guess
Joy even with that car comment.
Names.
If I had $33,000, I would buy a car. That sounded boomer to me. I don't know. You think that's millennial?
No, that sounds millennial. But their names are boomer. Kenneth, Joy,
Kenneth,
yeah,
and
that's
Joy.
old people. Yeah, they're not Madison and Tanner. Hatton Clogs, $2. When can we go hike Zion and eat Mexican food? Hat, come to Vegas.
I'm down. Alvarado's. Alvaro's. The place Atham had 3 dinners.
I know. No, hang on.
I think
Alvarado. I thought Alvarado.
Is that it?
Alvarado, St. George, Utah.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not it.
The heck was that? How have we forgotten this?
I can't. Alvaro's.
So
look at this.
Place
this is why you can't trust Yelp. 3.6. No, it's the best. Yeah, no, they don't know what they're talking about.
That's horse shit. That place was awesome.
It is
3
awesome.
dinners.
Yep, it's great. We'll go to Alvaro's, Hat. Absolutely.
And he was Mexican, so he can judge these things appropriately.
Yeah. Sailing Semantis. 20 generous dollars. I had $100,000 after my divorce from the sale of the house. All expenses, no capital gains. I bought a 3-lot subdivision, $50K. I want live there for 2 years and collect the $250,000 tax-free, then move on to the next lot. I am absolutely confused what he's talking about.
So I was going to ask you if you knew about this. If you have lived in a home for 2 years, and this is the key part, it has to be your main residence. We're not talking rental or vacation property. If you lived there as a primary resident for 2 years and you sell it, if you are a single person, you can exclude up to $250,000 of capital gains, and married, it's $500,000.
Okay.
So this is about to affect my parents. I think they're going to sell that Santa Fe house. So yeah, it's a good rule. Thank you, Sailing Semantas. Generous.
Sailing Semantis again, $5. I have the skills and equipment to build everything myself. All sweat. I'll do it, man. Do it. Yeah. You're going to spend more time fixing the repairs of the contractors in America today than if you just build it yourself. And yes, to nearly all of you contractors, somebody with YouTube can do a better job than you. Sounds arrogant, but that's how shitty a job you guys do. People, you need to get confident. Look, if the Amish can do it, you can do it.
I'm going to give both you and Raymond a compliment. I wish I had the ability to fix up houses the way you guys do, especially Raymond. Like, Raymond really knows how to do that.
Well, his old man, he worked it. Yeah. But
yeah,
you can, Chad. You just got to go. It takes years, unless you're in the field and someone's training you. But it took me years to get to my mechanical ability. And I'm not even that great. But I could, if I needed to, I could go build a pretty okay house that would probably last 25 years.
You did all this from YouTube or?
Yeah, mostly YouTube. Yeah. Wow, what, some boomer tradesman or my parents are going to teach me this shit? Yeah, you got to go to YouTube.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Sailing Semantis again, $5. The X is leveraged to her eyeballs, and I'm 100% debt free. Life. Oh, dude, the number. How have you ever heard where they get divorced and the woman, like 5 years later, actually has a positive net worth? They always blow through the money. They always do.
I've seen it with my clients. There's clients I've had for 10 years, married couple, married for the first 5 years. They were my client. I still do the divorced, individuals. I see the directions that their financial lives turn. So yeah, he's absolutely right about this. It happens. Sailing Semantas, I will do that H&R Block roundtable the next week or two. I need to see if Parker and Red Hawk are available. We'll get you
my
on
employees.
There too.
Yes, get my employees in. Hat and Clogs, $5. Cappy, right? How do I make the quarterly tax payments early when I'm a W-2, Chad? When can we go on a hike, Cappy, in Las Vegas? Let's do Zion. Yes, we'll do it. Yes. How do you make your quarterly tax payments? Well, the way I do it is you get a 1040 ES form. All right. And you could print off the whole thing if you want, or just the tax voucher portion. You estimate your taxes that you owe. And if it's the second quarter, you cut out, it says quarter 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. You cut out and write on the voucher how much you're paying, your address, your information. You write a check for the exact amount that is also on the voucher. And then there are instructions on that 1040 EZ form or ES form on where you mail it based on your state. And that's it. That's all. I recommend having carbon checks, so you have a record of it yourself, and then that's basically it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you don't typically go to Vegas until what, like November or December?
November, yeah. I don't go to Vegas until November.
I remember during COVID, me and Athem managed to climb or hike Zion in September. So I don't know what you were doing there, but that was fun.
Yeah, no, it's Utah generally doesn't get cold all that much, except in the winter. However, parts of Utah are high up in elevation, like what's it called? Bryce Canyon and Capitol Reef are very high up. You're like 9,000 feet up. And so they do get cold, but that southern part, Zion, St. George, it's actually warm in lower elevation. What? I can't see it. What is it?
I can't see it either, but I'm just glad he's in the chat. Athem, we were talking about you earlier, and
no, we were talking about some other random, dapper dressed gentleman who has stinky feet. A different Mexican, not him though. It wasn't him. A bowl of stew. I've never seen this guy before. $20. What is the exact name of the Intuit bookkeeping certification? Is it Intuit Pro Advisor Level 2 or just Intuit Bookkeeping Certification? I can't find anything on Intuit's website about which one to get. I would go with the bookkeeping certification, but then Intuit owns the software, QuickBooks, right?
Yeah.
Right. You also probably want to get QuickBooks certified as well, but the Pro Advisor, that sounds like financial advisory.
Well, Pro Advisor is kind of the name of the software that they have.
It's not QuickBooks?
No, it is, but there's tax software that's called the Pro Series Pro Advisor.
Oh, okay.
Man, you left such a generous super chat here. I don't know the answer, a bowl of stool, but I will find out. And we have people who listen to the stream regularly. Please comment below, because I know that they have gotten this exact certification, and we'll get the answer for you.
My question, I mean, we could kind of answer it now. If you want to go into tax, then it would probably be the Pro Advisor.
Yeah.
Because that's tax software, tax, whatever. Bookkeep, I thought that's what he was asking, because Intuit has QuickBooks. I thought he was more aiming to become the bookkeeper. So it depends on what you want to do first.
Yeah, Red Hawk mentioned he may work on this too. So I'll get an answer for that, a bowl of stew. Thank you for the super chat.
And bowl of stew work for H&R Block, so you too might be my employee.
It's either that or Intuit.
Sam Whiskey, most American name in America. Hey, lieutenants and economists. Wow, that's old school. Who's the boomer that forgot to put the voucher in? Vlad, look it up.
I will say this, Clary. I miss, in some ways, the period before there were super chats, because you used to do those podcasts where it wasn't on YouTube. I could only get them on like SoundCloud and everything.
Oh yeah, no, I still have my podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the good old days.
Well, I mean, they were, but when YouTube came along, it's like now everyone does YouTube, but you should at least convert some of your YouTube videos into a podcast MP3 because people have download and they don't have YouTube.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. And he's got one more.
Sam again for $10. Hey, Vlad, what percentage of dude bros go bankrupt because they couldn't pay the quarterly estimated taxes?
So if we're talking about crypto investors, if we supersede, dude bro for crypto investors, quite a few. I've had this over the last few years. Well, they'll make a killing on some kind of, meme stock or something, and then they'll double down on other crypto and they'll lose all their money. But the problem is they paid the capital gains or they owe capital gains from the initial investment. And because they were 2 separate years, you can only claim $3,000 per year in losses. So as far as the percentage, I don't know. But let me just say that the dude bros who are crypto bros, almost all of them I've dealt with have lost everything. Yes, Clary.
Why would he not? Why would no matter how douchey the dude bro is, how is it, dude bros, you cannot go bankrupt if you don't pay your quarterly estimated taxes?
Because you're not going to have any money to begin with after you sell everything off.
Okay, I was going to come at it from an income. If you're making quarterly estimated taxes, what does that mean?
Well, it means that you've actually made money.
You're making money. So unless you went and bought a car and pissed away all your money and aren't making your personal payments, if you're making quarterly estimated taxes, you are profitable. And so you are unlikely to go bankrupt.
It's interesting. I mean, the guys that owed money and even got dinged for not making quarterly estimated tax payments, who turned around the following year and lost everything between about 2021 and 2024 were pretty uncomfortably staggering. Yeah. So don't be a crypto bro.
Did you know, Matt, 2 Canadian Bitcoin, 115,000 boating accidents in 2026 on the rise?
It's a great one, Joe.
Is Bitcoin at 115,000?
It must be. I haven't been paying.
Hang on, let's take a look.
XRP is up. That's a big. Oh wow, it's almost at 116,000.
Wow,
Bitcoin.
Dude, I am so glad I bought some when I did.
So I think I told you the story. I had a guy in 2014. I did an easy tax return. He paid me in Bitcoin, small amount, but I haven't touched it. It's just gone like.
You remember the username and password?
Oh yeah.
You do? Okay, yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah. But, Kerry Lutz put me onto Bitcoin. By the way, listen to Kerry Lutz, Lutz, great guy. He put me onto Bitcoin. I think I bought one for like $35 back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was thanks to Kerry Lutz. He didn't buy, but he put me onto it. So.
Clary, I really appreciate you coming on. I know that we weren't really making fun of you. We were just trying to.
Oh, I know. I defended myself beautifully, and I would have had you had you just gone and fetched your other beer. I would have had me in the audience would have had you, but you had to pick up your headphones and listen to the little joke we were playing on you.
It was my lack of conscientiousness that caused that. What would you like to hawk?
There's nothing to hawk. Everything is hopeless. You're all going to be poor. All jobs are being outsourced to India. There's no way you can work remotely. It's over. Everyone should start snorting Windex through their toes like some crazy Mexican we know who is dapperly dressed. But wait, is there hope, Chad? Is there hope for young people to start a career somewhere that won't cost them an arm and a leg and also lends itself very well to remote and self-employment?
See, I feel like there's hope, especially after that one big, beautiful bill. Yes, there is hope.
It just made it more complicated.
These Republicans, man, they're like, oh, we want to simplify things. Then they make it twice as complicated.
Yeah, dude, AI ain't replacing it. I mean, maybe some lower level stuff. But, Chad, if you wanted to set up a tax practice, is it pretty easy to do nowadays compared to times past?
Yes, because you don't have to get a 4-year degree. You don't have to go to college. You just have to get a certain certification, which you can do.
With some years experience, which is why we promote people going and working for H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or whatever else.
Yeah.
And we have put together a course that outlines how to navigate and quickly and cheaply establish a career in accounting with multiple paths. If you want the more traditional corporate path, you could go get the CPA. We tell you how to get a degree. Cheaply, not like $100,000 for an MBA like some people I know. And then, see, I forget to put a voucher in. Somebody paid $100,000 for an MBA. Just want to say.
At least I'm trying to preach to people not to make the same mistake.
Oh, dude, you and I have saved people tens of millions of dollars and cost higher ed tens of millions of dollars, arguably billions even. I've done some calculations. So. Yeah, no, yeah. It's so we put together this course. It will help you select and navigate which type of field, if you're interested in accounting, how to do it intelligently, how to do it quickly. And I think the biggest selling point of the course is how to inevitably be self-employed and remotely employed. And Chad, I asked you, if you had this course, like when you're whatever, 18 or 19, what age would you have been by the time you're in the position it took you, whether you were 37, 38?
At least 10 years younger, and probably more like 12 to 14. I could have started my practice in my early mid-20s if I didn't go
24, 25, right? Yeah. Instead of 36, 37. All right. Yeah. And probably $100,000 savings.
Yes.
Right. All right. So that's my main selling point of the course, to become remotely and self-employed as quickly as possible, ideally in your mid-20s if you start young. And what would we title this course, Chad?
So I have a frog in my throat, so I'm wondering.
Try a James Bond. Try a very smooth whispering into the woman's ear.
The world's greatest accounting career.
That was awfully shitty. If you're going to do Sean Connery, for God's sake, man. It's the world's greatest accounting career. You got to say it with a question.
The world's greatest accounting career? You know, I always liked Roger Moore and felt like he didn't get as much respect as he should have compared
because
to
he's
Sean
the second
Connery.
Best Bond.
I know, but he's still pretty funny.
He's phenomenal. He is. Yeah. He is. It's like you could do Jimmy Stewart. Oh, geez, the world's greatest accounting career. Yeah.
I linked it below, and yes, it is an affiliate link. So, you know, Clary did a thank you video for those that use affiliate
Ronald Reagan promoting it. Well, I recommend the world's greatest accounting career. And how do people sign up for it?
You can sign up for it by going to the affiliate link, which is below in the description of this video. Yes, I get a little percentage of what you would pay for it by using the affiliate link. But you know what? It's a good course. I really believe it. And it could help a lot of you out. So
I actually have had hundreds take it, I think. I think we're surpassing the hundreds.
Do they keep a tally of who's ordered?
Yeah, I can look up the analytics. Like that first month I offered it, I think we had 60 people sign up. It was a lot. And actually tapered off because, you know, everything's got a life cycle. But yeah, so there it is. That's it. That's all I got. That's all that I promote.
Guys, thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you again, Clary. I would love it if we could hang out. When?
Soon.